asserts that the Shema really doesn't say anything about God. It is rather reflective of an eschatological hope for humanity. The problem with Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, is that there seems to be redundancy here. Hear, O Israel, either the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. That takes care of redundancy a little bit. We could still say the Lord our God is one. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Echad. What would be missing if that when the verse was, you say, hey, that's weird. You should say Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. If you only look, if it was really written Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Echad, like Hashem Elokeichem Emet, Hashem Elokeinu Echad. What's wrong with that? The Lord our God is one. What if it's the Lord our God? The Lord is one. So I shtickle redundant. And I just redundantly articulated that question 3 times. So look at so if you did I hand this out? Yeah, okay. Those of you who have it, fine. The other ones, I know you're auditory learners, so it's fine. So if you look at B down below, in other words, if you hold those of you who are fortunate enough to have the handout, and the staple is the upper right. If you don't have it, it's okay. I'll make it really clear. So Rashi's interpretation is number B. Oh, yeah, good idea. Your auditory that you have to hear right below. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Hashem shehu Elokeinu atah, v'lo Elokei ha'olamot. Hu atik liot Hashem Echad. Shenema ki az epol chol ha'amim sabav u'rav l'krok ulam b'shem Hashem. V'nema v'yom ha'hu yeh Hashem Echad u'shmo Echad. On that day, God will be one, and His name will be one. What does it say? Hashem, who is now our God only, and not the God of the nations, for they worship others. Others worship other gods. In the future, He will be the exclusive God, for all will worship Him. As it is written, I will turn over to the peoples a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Hashem. In another context, this idea of the redemption of the world requires purity of language is a concept that has to be addressed. But I'm not going to address that right now. What does it mean, purity of language? I will safa brura, clarity of language, purity of language. But bayom hahu yiyeh Hashem echad v'shmo echad. On that day, He will be one, and His name will be one. Now, let me ask you a question. That's a verse you all know, right? Because you sing the Elenu. Vayom hahu yeh Hashem echad v'shmo echad. Do you ever think about that? What do you mean God will be one? And He's not one now? That's heretical. If it's talking about God, that means, well, right now He's a triumvirate. Chas v'shalom. But one day He'll get it together. What do you mean, Yeh Hashem Echad? Right? So, what the answer? Not from the perspective of His metaphysical essence. He is obviously He's unified. We're not talking about God. We're talking about people's perceptions of God. That all of humanity will be united. And that's the theme of the liturgy of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. As we'll see, V'yedad kol pa'ul ki atah pa'alto. V'yavin kol yitzur ki atah yitzarto. V'yomar kol Hashem neshama ba'apo Adonai Elokei Yisrael melech u'malchuto b'kol mashallah. Let all, we'll see that's one of the major verses in the liturgy, one of the major prayers. May all creatures know that you created. May each creature know that you created him. Right? And that all humanity, it sounds like some sort of liberal, very, very, sort of like reform, like this sort of thing. And the Orthodox tend to recoil from this because it's not particularistic enough. Yeah, because this is maybe Shani wants to be ani. What are we here for if not to model values for the rest of the world? What does it mean to be a nation of priests? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. If we're the priests, there has to be the common folk What is the priest? The priest is not just an intermediary to speak to God on behalf of the people, to offer sacrifices. Yoru mishpatecha Yaakov. The priest has to be the teacher of values. The Levites and the priests were communicators of Torah. And if we're a nation of priests, we have to communicate Torah. You communicate to the other. This bothers me because I really don't want to devote my life to teaching Torah to Gentiles. I really don't. Because I'm embittered. But the least I can, besides, there are enough of us, including myself, who's sort of deprived of basic education. You know, we have our own people to educate. Yeah, but the concern has to be there. Maybe it has to be modeling. Maybe if we're a nation now with our own sovereignty, thank God, as a nation, we have to see as our purpose modeling appropriate behavior in the political and ethical and social realms. That the nation of Israel has to be a benchmark. Doesn't have higher standards than anybody else. Why should we have higher standards than anybody else? No, not just that we should have higher standards than everybody. We have to communicate those things. We are the purveyors of it. It's not like, well, we have to be better than everybody else. No, we're the models. We're the nation of priests. If we're not going to be a nation of priests, then why do we exist? Maybe we have no purpose for existing. Maybe we should just assimilate. Hashem Shehu Elokeinu, Hashem, who is now only our God, will one day be the exclusive God. Right? And those of you who are familiar with Shabbat Mincha, so Shabbos is the only day of the year where each Amidah is different, because each part of the 24-hour day has its own metaphysical charisma. Friday night, it's the charisma, we celebrate creation. Saturday morning, Yismach Moshe Berger, we celebrate revelation, values. That creation is for the purpose of the realization of values. Creation is for the purpose, not that values enhance life, but life is for the purpose of the realization of values. Saturday afternoon is redemption. Was made redemption. I still, because I'm a product of the 50s, when I hear the word redemption, I think of S&H green stamps. Does anybody know what that is? I'm not kidding you. I just think of my Aunt Hilda sticking those in. And she was so rich, she didn't need them. Redemption in Judaism really means that being given the historical opportunity to actualize our values. If you're a slave in Auschwitz or in Egypt or anywhere in between, you're not going to be able to be a role model for the world. You're not going to be able to act. Redemption means freedom to actualize our mandate, our ideological mandate. If you're not free, you can't realize the purposes of your existence. And what we have to do is at least, and I think I can't teach it. I can hardly teach it to myself and to my community. But that's what I try to do with all my heart. But of course, if a Gentile or Gentiles are interested, I'm going to obey, anybody who comes to me. But to see as to actively go out and preach, be evangelists to the Gentiles, can't do it. Won't do it.